Hello, my name is Emma Rodriguez, and I will be presenting on immunologic tolerance, autoimmunity, and hypersensitivity. How does the immune system maintain unresponsiveness to self antigens? It does so through immunological tolerance, which includes T lymphocyte tolerance, both central and peripheral, B lymphocyte tolerance, both central and peripheral, and a tolerance to commensal microbes and fetal antigens. Immunological tolerance is a lack of response to antigens by exposure of lymphocytes to these antigens. In central tolerance, immature lymphocytes specific for self-antigens may encounter these antigens in the generative lymphoid organs and are deleted. B lymphocytes change their specificity. Some T lymphocytes develop into regulatory T cells. In peripheral tolerance, mature self-reactive lymphocytes may be inactivated or deleted by an encounter with self-antigens in peripheral tissues or suppressed by regulatory T cells. In central T lymphocyte tolerance, immature lymphocytes that interact strongly with the self-antigen displayed as a peptide bound to an MHC molecule receive signals that trigger apoptosis. Some immature CD4 T cells that recognize self-antigens in the thymus with high affinity do not die but develop into regulatory T cells and enter peripheral tissue. AIRE, an autoimmune regulator, is responsible for the thymic expression of peripheral tissue antigens. Central T lymphocyte tolerance. Normal T cell responses require antigen recognition and co-stimulation. Mechanisms of peripheral T cell tolerance include cell intrinsic energy, which is functional unresponsiveness, suppression by regulatory T cells, which is a block in activation, and deletion through apoptotic cell death. Central B lymphocyte tolerance. Receptor editing. Some immature B cells that recognize self-antigens in the bone marrow may re-express RAG genes, resume Ig light chain gene recombination, and express a new Ig light chain. Deletion. If editing fails, immature B cells that respond strongly to self-antigens receive death signals and die by apoptosis. Energy. Some self-antigens may be recognized in the bone marrow with low avidity. B cells specific for these antigens survive, but antigen receptor expression is reduced and the cells become functionally unresponsive. Peripheral B lymphocyte tolerance. A mature B cell that recognizes a self-antigen without T cell help is functionally inactivated and becomes incapable of responding to the antigen, or it dies by apoptosis, or its activation is suppressed by engagement of inhibitory receptors. Factors that contribute to autoimmunity and the loss of self-tolerance. Genetic susceptibility. Various genetic loci may confer susceptibility to autoimmunity, probably by influencing the maintenance of self-tolerance. Environmental stimuli. Infections and other inflammatory stimuli promote the influx of lymphocytes into tissues and the activation of antigen-presenting cells, and subsequently of self-reactive T cells, resulting in tissue injury. Hypersensitivity reactions. Type 1. Immediate hypersensitivity is a type of pathologic reaction that is caused by the release of mediators from mast cells. Type 1 sensitivity causes rapid vascular leakage, mucosal secretions, and inflammation. Type 2. Antibodies other than IgE that are directed against cell or tissue antigens can damage these cells or tissues or can impair their function. Antibodies specific for cell and tissue antigens may deposit in tissues and cause injury by inflammation, opsonization, and phagocytosis, and abnormal cellular response. Type 3. Antibodies against soluble antigens may form complexes with the antigens, and the immune complexes may deposit in blood vessels and various tissues, causing inflammation and tissue injury. Type 4. Some diseases result from the reactions of T lymphocytes, often against self-antigens in the tissue. The major causes of T cell-mediated hypersensitivity reactions are autoimmunity and exaggerated or persistent responses to microbial or other environmental antigens. This concludes the presentation. Thank you.